Good morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook Live. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. I'm Chris Burdick. That's Sparky. Sparky, good morning, my friend.
Good morning.
Let them know what they're in for.
Oh, we got a busy show. We'll recap NFL Week 17. We'll have some local comedians as Trevor Chavez. It's his Monday, so he's coming in. He's bringing Eddie Molina, another local comedian, joining us at 8 o'clock. Then we'll get into some NBA talk at 8:30 with our boy Snacks, and not only a local basketball referee, but also a local DJ on our sister station, Hits 93.1. You can call or text in anytime during the show at 661-842-2000. And sometime, somewhere during the show, we got to get into some Stranger Things talk because it's pretty much taken over the holiday weekend.
Oh, 100%.
And I know we're going to get into plenty of entertainment talk tomorrow.
Yes.
But not only did we watch Stranger Things, but I got to see Avatar. I got to see Anaconda.
I need to pick your brain on those two because I've heard mixed reviews about Avatar and Anaconda. It's all pretty dang negative.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I could get it with Anaconda.
Again, it did.
But
It's a horror movie.
I wasn't expecting much out of it in the first place.
Yeah, it's a horror movie they're trying to create a comedy out of, I guess, which is a new craze. I love Jack Black and Paul Rudd, but I don't know exactly how successful this movie is going to be going forward. Do me a favor, though, my friend. You are cut off on the video. If you could lift your camera up a little bit. You look like the family or the parents out there. There you go. There you go. Now we can see your beautiful face on this 29th day of December. I cannot wait to get to our guy Snacks as well, because there's some news out of the world of college basketball that I have to get his thoughts on. Georgetown's head coach was suspended for a game for throwing a water bottle in frustration at a fan, and it was a kid being held by his mother. Again, not intentionally. None of that was like, oh God, I hate that kid, throw a bottle at his face. But I got to get his thoughts on this because growing up, I've always known Georgetown to be a basketball super school. Like every time you hear the NCAA tournament, you traditionally hear Georgetown being a part of it. And it seems in the last half a decade, they've kind of spiraled. And I want to get our guy Snacks' thoughts on if we will ever see Georgetown return to their former glory that we used to see in the early 2000s and late 90s. But let's start with the NFL as we always do. We were not here day after Christmas, so let's talk about those Christmas Day games, which were yeah, they were what we thought they were going to be. Let's say that. I mean, we weren't expecting any great, amazing football. The Chiefs made a game out of their game, at least, and the Minnesota Vikings showed up on their whiteout, which was fantastic to see, especially if you're a Green Bay Packer fan, because that locked you into the playoffs upcoming here in the next couple of weeks, even though your team is in shambles, and we'll get to that in a little bit as well. But I have to highlight that the Minnesota Vikings, 23-10 against the Detroit Lions. We won't talk about the Cowboy game. There was literally nothing to watch in the Cowboy game, in my opinion. But at this point, the Detroit Lions have to be asking themselves, what the heck do we do to get back to the successful ways that we had 2 years ago, or a year ago, technically, but it'll be 2 years here coming up in the 2026 season. And how do we figure out how to replace the incredible play calling that was Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn? That, in my opinion, is what's missing here. Is just some sort of offensive guru. Not to say that Dan hasn't done a fantastic job calling plays, but there is just some level of late game play calling, or I guess just crisis play calling, I should basically call it, that isn't there. Dan's not calling the necessary plays that gain the momentum you need to get out of holes and win those late games, or those late close games that a lot of people saw the Detroit Lions win a year ago. And when you have guys like Andrew Van Ginkel absolutely destroying your quarterback, or recovering 2 fumbles, having 1.5 of the team's 5 sacks. I mean, he was all over the place during this game. But when one guy on the defensive side is crashing down and making it a hell of a day for your quarterback, and making it so your offense can't get anything going on the run game or in the pass game, usually you can lean on a coach or some sort of leadership that can help you claw your way out of that hole. I just don't know if Dan Campbell I think he is the right coach motivationally to lead you out of that hole, but not technically. You need somebody that's going to be able to call the right plays and put you in the right situations, just like a game of chess. And I just don't think Detroit has that right now. I really don't. I think they could find it. I think they could hopefully go out and find a offensive coordinator that could probably, levy this entire thing and let Dan get back to just being a great head coach. But right now, you just have to lick your wounds, go into the offseason, trying to figure out how you actually address that and get the most out of this fantastic roster that the Detroit Lions have. And on the opposite side of this, kudos to the Vikings for pulling off this win, in my opinion, without a worthy quarterback, because Max Brosberg, he did as much as he could, I suppose. But realistically, when you look at it offensively, they probably should have lost this game if the Detroit Lions had played up to their actual potential. But the Vikings pull off a bracket buster like win late in the season. It's cool to see. And then they will have a chance to do the exact same thing this week coming up. So we'll see what happens. What are your thoughts on this one, my guy?
I think you just cornered every bit of it. I mean, really, what we were expecting out of Detroit. I mean, we knew they had a tough schedule. I knew that it was going to be an uphill battle with all the coaches that they left, and it's probably the same thing. I think Coach Campbell, which is a great coach, we've seen it. I think he's just biting off a little too much, and I think with the skill set on this, both sides, offense and defense in Detroit, I think it's going to be an easy fix. I think he's just going to bring in an offensive specialist, or maybe lean on more of what the offensive coordinator can do. I mean, it is his first year as the offensive coordinator, and I think Dan Campbell just needs to pass on the play calling. I think anybody, I don't think it'll be that difficult to have a guy come in with the skill set. I mean, St. Brown, Jameson Williams, I mean, both headed running backs. I think Montgomery's probably out after this in the
I would
offseason,
think.
but still, I mean, the amount of talent that's on both sides, I think it'll be an easy fix, but I think he's trying to do too much.
And I wish I had heard the quote that I heard in game before the game while we were making our decisions on what teams we were going to pick this week, because they were quoting Dan Campbell as saying that he didn't want to make the playoffs if they weren't going to make any noise. You don't want to hear that from leadership. You really don't. I mean, that's almost as bad as Joe Burrow during the press conference saying nobody's thinking about the playoffs right now. We're just taking it week by week. You don't want to hear that. You do not want to hear that when your team is in shooting chance of making a playoff spot. You don't need leadership sitting there saying, I don't even want the spot if we're not going to make noise. What? I thought the whole point was to bite kneecaps off, Dan. No matter how bad or down you guys are, that's the whole point, right? Is that you're going to be fiery and feisty and fight until the bitter end every single season. I thought that's the whole point. So, I mean, there's some bitter ups and downs when it comes to Dan. I love Dan Campbell. I really do. But if it's really going to be, we're going to bite people's kneecaps off when you're good, and then we don't even want to make the playoffs if we're not ready when you're bad. That's a wide range here. It's really weird. I mean, I hate to highlight this again in a negative way, but we talked about it when it came to Aaron Glenn and his start and how bad of a start it was with the Detroit Lions for Dan Campbell. So, was the successful turnaround because of Dan Campbell? Or was it because you had Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn too? We're about to find out. And I don't know if it bodes well that we're hearing from the head coach that they didn't even want to make the playoffs if they weren't going to make any noise. That's a really weird quote to hear from your leadership, in my opinion. But I mean, again, that's just me. If you differ on that, feel free, text in 661-842-2000. I don't want to hear my head coach saying I don't even want to make it unless we're going to make noise. I think that's the whole point. The whole point of you making it is to make noise. But that's just me. The second game that I want to highlight before we get to our break, the Chiefs and the Broncos. At this point, the offensive inconsistencies of the Broncos are just too glaring to really ignore. It really is. And the Kansas City Chiefs made this a game. They really did at the end of it all. I don't think anybody expected them to pull off the W, but Andy Reid is doing everything he can with what he's got. And a Patrick Mahomes-less Chiefs team definitely does not look the same. I mean, I guess that's, comparison. But in your opinion, Sparky, do you think the Denver Broncos have enough to really make that push that everybody's kind of expecting them to make? This is the first time the team has won the AFC West since 2015. Last time they won the AFC West, they won the Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning. Now, obviously, there are glaring similarities and glaring differences between the two teams. But before I get to those, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I'll repeat exactly what I've been saying with Denver and the other 7 teams fighting for the playoffs. I mean, not one of these teams down the list that are fighting in the AFC right now that I can say is a for sure team that it's Super Bowl bound or bust. I think all of the teams in the playoffs right now in the AFC all have that same look. We don't know which team's going to show up. Denver, I mean, the last couple weeks have shown like a team that can be beat, whether it's a division rival like Kansas City, even with the third string backup quarterback. I just don't know what team. And a lot of it starts with Bo Nix. Personally, you've said it for weeks, which Bo Nix are we going to get? He's a game manager type quarterback. The defense shows up when they want to, usually when it's towards the end of the game and they need a stop. But I just don't know what to think about any of these AFC teams, including Denver.
I can agree with you on that point that I have no idea what to expect from Denver or the Patriots or anybody this year in a playoff format. And we'll get to that more when we'll talk about the Buffalo Bills, because I don't think the Buffalo Bills are really in that much trouble, but they don't look great either. But weird things happen in sports all the time historically. And one of the things that happens more often than people realize is how similar teams can be in certain situations. I just highlighted the last time the Broncos won the AFC West was 10 years ago, right before the Chiefs dynasty began. And that was when Peyton Manning was at the helm. Now, the weird part about this, I'm going to go down this, the defensive comparisons. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that the defense of the Denver Broncos, as it sits right now, have nearly the star power that they had back in 2015. They don't have Akeem Talib or Von Miller. What they do have is Patrick Surtain and a great front seven that gets the quarterback better than anybody in the NFL. Now, in 2015, the defense was the first overall total defense. They were first in sacks and third down percentage, and they were first in points allowed. 2025 this season, the Denver Broncos are third total defense, first in sacks and third down percentage, and third in points allowed. Now, the weird part about this, though, the schemes couldn't be more different. They really couldn't. The scheme right now for the Denver Broncos is very aggressive and complex. The scheme back then with Wade Phillips, we kind of know how it rolls. It was really driven by the two incredible defensive ends and the corners flying around and making plays. And it worked out for them and got them to the Super Bowl. But when you look at the offensive inconsistencies of both teams as well, the 2015 Broncos didn't exactly go in with, prime Peyton Manning. He looked pretty bad. Now he shaped up in the playoffs and made a run and obviously beat the Patriots. He beat the Patriots in the AFC Championship game to make it to the Super Bowl and beat Cam and the Panthers. Which, could you imagine? Because also break this down for people. If the playoffs started today, the Broncos could literally run the exact same way as the 2015 Broncos did. There's a possibility that they could play the Pittsburgh Steelers in the second round and then play the Patriots in the championship game. And then in the craziest possible fashion, I'm not going to sit here and say this out loud, but Carolina in the Super Bowl. Weird to think. But the similarities there are glaring. They've obviously done it before. And in my personal opinion, they have a better head coach in the 2025 year than they did back in 2015 when they had Gary Kubiak. Is anybody going to sit there and tell me that you would rather have Gary Kubiak than Sean Payton? Highly doubtful.
No, maybe.
Highly doubtful.
I'd rather have a 50% Peyton than 100% Bo Nix right now.
True, 100%. That is the biggest glaring difference to me, is that you don't have the Hall of Fame quarterback. But I've seen crazier things from young quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, in their entire run to the Super Bowl, didn't throw an interception, looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback. I've seen crazier things happen. I'm just saying sports has a really, really weird way of just replaying stuff from not too long ago in the past, right here in the future, and this could be the next one. It really could. Now, do I believe in the Denver Broncos right now? Absolutely not. But we could be seeing one of the weirdest replays in sports history. We really could. Shifting over to Saturday's slate of games real quick. The Houston Texans pulling it off against the Chargers. I still love what I see from the Chargers. Don't get me wrong. I think this was just a clash of two playoff teams that are ready to actually get going and get to work. And both of these teams could run roughshod through the AFC, to be completely honest with you. But what were your thoughts on this whole thing, my friend? I mean, CJ Stroud, 2 quick touchdowns to give the Texans the lead, and they never really had to look back. But a hobbled Justin Herbert is still nothing to, shy away from. So they made it a game.
It was a big win for Houston. Houston is getting hot at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if they were going to be able to pull that one out, but they were. And that is one of the teams in the AFC that I'm keeping a circle around, because Houston is playing tough, and they just shown that they can beat a playoff caliber team. Now, which caliber team are they going to be lined up with? We'll find out. But that is the same thing as the later game. I mean, Baltimore came out, and that's another team. We'll know in week 18 if they're going to get into the playoffs or not, but now it's on them. And I think if Baltimore, even with the backup quarterback putting up 40 plus against a team obviously hobbled with Green Bay, dealing with a ton of injuries, but Baltimore is one of those teams, like I know you're going to say about Buffalo, but if they can find them way into the playoffs, I mean, it's a clean slate.
Oh,
0-0. Everybody is undefeated.
Here, my main point, and I think is weird, is that this is the first season that I can remember that we're looking at the AFC playoff picture, and the wild card teams are the favorite to win.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong, I am not doubting my or Coach Vrabel whatsoever and Drake May. I still say Drake May, although I know Matt Stafford's probably going to win the MVP. My personal opinion, it should be Drake May. 100% should be Drake May. The most accurate quarterback this year in the NFL, has the best quarterback rating. And can anybody say that he doesn't have the worst roster to play with? Matthew Stafford has 2 bona fide Hall of Famers at wide receiver and always does. Now, does he make them the bona fide Hall of Famer? Jury's still out. I think he has a lot to do with it. But you cannot sit there and tell me that Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams are not 2 bona fide Hall of Fame wide receivers. Nope. Can anybody tell me who Drake May is throwing to right now?
Stephon Diggs. That's it.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Is Stephon Diggs a Hall of Fame wide receiver? Jury's kind of out right now. He hasn't looked like himself, or he used to be when he was a Viking. But still, I would have to say the Patriots look pretty dang impressive.
They should with that schedule, but I've said it since the offseason. New England's going to be tough.
No, you're
especially if they go in New England in January and have nothing but home games. They're going to team they're going to have to watch out for.
And if you take nothing away when you're listening to the show, you should take away this, that myself and Sparky did call the dark horses of the NFC and the AFC.
Look at us.
Look at us. Look at us. Okay, look at it. Anyways, but back to the point at hand. It still doesn't shake the fact that the Chargers, the Texans, and the Bills all look like bona fide Super Bowl contenders. And for those of you who are looking at me or listening to the radio right now saying, what the hell are you talking about? The Chargers are top 10 in every meaningful defensive category, believe it or not, and are led by a quarterback that, although, yes, hobbled with a broken left hand, has looked better and better every week since breaking said hand. He could be back to at least, I would think, what, Spark, 85, 90% capacity here.
He's got his number 1 running back. I mean, everyone is forming right into the playoffs. It's going to be a tough. And I think, like we've said, Kansas City being out, teams like Baltimore not being 100%. These are the teams that we're usually always talking about this time of the year.
AFC. I have a hard time saying that the Super Bowl winner is not going to come out of the AFC. Because if you really look at every team that's in the playoffs so far, not counting Pittsburgh, all of them are top 10 defenses. Every single one. Some of them are led by better quarterbacks than others. But that's why I personally like when we say I don't know what we're going to get. True, it's because it's all led by young players and we haven't seen what they are capable of in a playoff format yet. But it's also because these defenses aren't going to allow jack. They really aren't. They're not going to be allowing anything. And I can't wait to see who actually gets the first overall seed and gets to dodge this first round bloodbath that's going to happen in the AFC in the playoff
Denver better
picture.
hope so.
See, but again, I echo.
They need a week or two to get better.
They do. They absolutely do. And I heard Kyle Juszczyk talking about this after the game yesterday with the Niners and how much they would really appreciate the week off. Certain teams, I get it. You really would appreciate the week off. I think the Niners are that team for the NFC that if they could get that week, it would really benefit them just to get the guys who are injured back and running. And now there's a possibility Warner might be able to come back for the playoffs from what he said before the game. Now it's a long shot, but I would love to see Warner back on the field. If you're the Seahawks, if you're the Broncos, if you're the Patriots, I really don't think you benefit from getting that first round bye. I really don't. I think you want to play. I know that's crazy to say, but if Denver can take down someone like Buffalo, which personally I think is possible, I think that bodes better for a young team looking to prove themselves in the playoffs than sitting at home watching on television and wondering, okay, which one of these guys are the ones we're going to have to prepare for this week. There's a lot of uncertainty there. There's a lot of I don't want to say mismanaged preparation because that's not necessarily it, but you get what I mean. They're not focusing on a central opponent. It's different when you know who you're playing next week. And it just doesn't bode well, I don't think, for a younger team that's looking to prove themselves. And same for somebody like the Seahawks. I think Sam Darnold needs to come into the first round of the playoffs and just throw everything. Just shoot the lights out. I want every touchdown coming from Sam Darnold. If you are a Seahawks fan, that is the best possible thing. Why? Because it shakes everybody's doubt that this guy can't play in the playoffs. Getting a first round bye and then having to sit there and wait and say, okay, maybe this is the week we avoided wild card. No, that's not how you really want to go into this. You want to go into it against a team you know you can beat the just belt to ass, ready to go. And then you go into the next week saying, okay, we've proven ourselves. We don't need to prove anything anymore. Now let's get to the big game. That's just my personal opinion. Then shifting over real quick to the final AFC division that needs to be actually wrapped up. And that would be the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, which you will see next week. I apologize, in Sunday Night Football to wrap this entire season up. I said it last week. I don't know why John Harbaugh has taken this long to really get the formula, but you hand the ball to Derrick Henry, you win football games. I don't really understand how he just saw this week as, oh, this was a historic thing. We had to keep feeding him. Why do you not do this every week? Why does Derrick Henry not get 25 to 30 carries every single week, especially weeks where Lamar's not playing? Doesn't make any sense at all to me why it's taken this long for the Ravens to realize, oh, yeah, that's right. That's King Derrick Henry. That's the guy who literally nobody can tackle. Why do you not just say, here you go, big guy, and run the football? I really don't get it. They figured it out this week. They were able to pull it off against a hobbled Packers team. I grant you, if this team had Micah Parsons, I think it would be a little bit different. And honestly, we'll get to that in a second because I do believe that this team kind of looks like the spark is just gone just because of the injuries and the timing of said injuries. But the biggest talking point coming out of this week continues to be Malik Willis and his resurgence to the football field, completing over 80% of his passes in these two games, has looked fantastic. And now I have people, or fans of Atlanta, I should say, on the internet crying, saying we need to sign this kid next season. Do you think this is a legit thing, or do you think this is just Matt LaFleur putting it as simply as possible for his backup quarterback in order to keep them in winning, shooting shot of wins, I should say?
I like the kid personally. I think he's a better quarterback than the situation he's been in before he went to Green Bay.
Fair.
I mean, it's different. different team, different mindset. I liked what I've seen so far. I don't know if he's ready for a starting quarterback job, but there's going to be some teams that are probably going to take a flyer out on some of these backups. I mean, the last month we've seen a list of backup quarterbacks that have shown that they can actually play some football. So, I mean, I think the days of Justin Fields and some of these guys, I think they're probably not going to be starting quarterbacks moving forward unless something random happens. But I've seen from Malik Willis. I like the kid. I just don't know if he's ready to be a full-time starting quarterback.
That's the weird part about it to me as well, is that what we've seen of the bad of him, excuse me, was Tennessee. And as we've all seen, Tennessee has been a dumpster fire ever since, the Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, Derrick Henry days. They really haven't been the same since they let Vrabel go. And to be honest with you, watching him play with Matt LaFleur, like I said, 84% of his passes have been completed. He's had over 500 total yards, 4 touchdowns in 2 games. That's pretty good for a backup quarterback. It really is. He looks impressive. And in certain aspects, he's outdueled starting quarterbacks right now that are playing against him. Now, he's lost both of the games that he's played in, unfortunately, but it has been pretty, to the eye at least, appealing to most teams. I think that it's just another example, though, and you touched on it when you were making your point, Sparky. It just depends where you end up. Honestly, where you get drafted is a huge indicator if you're going to be successful in your job. And at this point right now, I think we're just seeing that if Malik Willis would have got drafted by somebody who was at least a quarterback developer, somebody who knew how to actually play to his strengths, maybe we would have seen Malik Willis as a starting quarterback before this. Does he gain a starting spot from this? I doubt it, to be honest. I think Green Bay holds on to him and everybody sits there and looks at him and says, well, maybe Jordan Love gets hurt again. Maybe. Especially if Jordan doesn't reach the potential that everybody thinks that he's going to get next season. Because at this point, and sorry, Packer fans, but I'm going to wrap up your season for you. This isn't the same team. This isn't a playoff team. This isn't a team that's going to be going into the AFC and shocking anybody, in my opinion. And again, I could be greatly wrong, but if you get lined up against the Bears, a team that knows you very, very well, and you have to play them for a third time, or even go up against a team like the Eagles, who, although are in absolute disarray on offense and have no idea how to get it back on track, I still think they can beat you. I really do. I don't think that the Packers have that star power led just ability to beat anybody in the NFC in the playoff picture. I really don't. Like, if there's one outlier this season excluding the NFC South champion, because at this point, I don't think anybody wants to win the NFC South. I think both of those teams want to stay home or go to Cancun. I really do. But we'll get to that after the break. But in this situation for the NFC, I just don't think anybody, I think each and every one of the teams that are in the playoffs can beat the Packers with a healthy Jordan Love or not. I think there's just a spark missing from this team. It was there halfway through the season, and we all sat there and thought, okay, here we go. This is going to be a Packers team that wants to make a run. And then Micah went down during the Broncos, and it seemed like every bit of air in the season just got sucked out of the room, and all of the Super Bowl hopes went with it like a vacuum. Like the walls of the inside out, or upside down, I'm sorry. It just was gone. And I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong, you're in the playoffs. Good for you. You should be thanking Minnesota Viking fans and players right now all the way to the bank. But it's kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. We're going to see on Sunday. I think they're going to lose. I genuinely do. Watching that Cleveland game, and I think Myles Garrett said it beautifully, they were more worried about Myles Garrett breaking the sack record than actually winning the game. And that is not a smart move. It's not. It honestly, play to win the game. It's that simple. And I don't think Pittsburgh's playing to win the game either. So if I'm sitting here going to look at the Ravens and the Packers situation, I think the Ravens find a way into the playoffs, somehow just exploiting this defense in Pittsburgh, which is one of the worst in the football right now. I think they're 28th against the pass. So even if it's Snoop Huntley or Lamar, they're going to have an easy day throwing the football. The positive, if you're a Pittsburgh Steeler fan, is TJ, I think, should be back this week. I hope. Football is different without that man. But I still think Pittsburgh ends up losing. I think the Packers end up losing in the first round of the playoffs. And both of these teams go into the offseason just scratching their heads, wondering what the hell just happened. How did we end up here? Again, middle of the pack. Not a great first round draft pick. And honestly, might get Mike Tomlin fired. It may just get him fired. Any final thoughts on this, my friend?
I think I agree with all of it. I mean, I think the Packers, and whether it's the Bucks or Panthers, are probably the bottom feeders. Even if they get in, or whether whoever gets into the playoffs, that's the team you want to play in the first round,
Mhm.
because they're both falling apart. And the same thing, I think for football fans and a good playoff, I would rather see Baltimore, because Pittsburgh's going to get knocked out in the first round, whoever they play, because I don't think they can match up with any of the other 6 teams that are in the playoffs right now. So I agree with the same thing. And I think if Baltimore gets in, that's one of those teams like Buffalo that have a history of the playoffs.
Mm.
And I think if they can get a clean slate and get into the playoffs, that's a team to watch out for.
Well, let's talk about the NFC South picture on the other side, because just like I said a little bit ago, I don't think any of these teams want to win, and there's a possibility that my Falcons can jump up and tie both of them. Do we have a shot at the playoffs? Hell no, but that's because we can't beat the Kitty Cats in the regular season. Let's take a break. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us. Just look up the Early Bird Special. Come join us on all social media platforms. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let's get to the Sunday slate real quick before we get to some more sports that we had over the weekend. A couple interesting bowl games, including Fresno State pulling off a pretty entertaining game at the Snoop Dogg Bowl. Yes, the Snoop Dogg Arizona Bowl. That was the thing. That was a thing.
Did you see the halftime show with him?
I did actually. I was pleasantly impressed. It also kind of just it makes me laugh though, because it is seeming to me that the halftime shows for Thanksgiving and Christmas are getting better than the halftime show for the Super Bowl.
I
I
was
mean,
going to say the same thing.
it's pretty glaring at this point, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I know Jay-Z takes care of his stuff over there in the NFL, but can we figure this out for the Super Bowl, please? Can we make it entertaining? Don't get me wrong. I loved Kendrick. I thought Kendrick was great. But the aftermath of it, I can live without. I really can. Like,
Oh, you can't get away with that.
no.
You can't get away from it because no matter what it is, the other half aren't gonna like it.
I know.
I just personally wanted to throw it out there because that was one of my favorite halftime shows. Jack White
Right.
the week before was awesome. So maybe Detroit's got something. Obviously, when Eminem is helping to book shows,
That's what I'm saying. Is that like and I'm not going to sit here and say that Eminem just reads the crowd and knows what his people like. No, it's probably just more centered around he has his friends and
Yeah.
who's entertaining, who's not. And Jay-Z does the same thing, but I don't know. We got to step up the Super Bowl game a little bit here.
Yeah.
We got to step it up. We're getting outplayed by Christmas Day games and Thanksgiving games. That cannot happen. That cannot happen. I'm sorry.
Any game show or shootout at you from Sunday?
Outside of the Sunday Night Football game, I mean, that was so much fun to watch. The Bears and the Niners going at it. Both defenses couldn't stop a runny nose, but it is what it is. And Brock Purdy, I said it last week, dude. 5 touchdowns in 2 games in a row. If he makes it to the Super Bowl, does everybody realize that the NFC playoff picture could be solely played in Santa Clara? If this goes the way the Niners want it to, they could have the first overall seed, home field advantage, and guess where the Super Bowl is this season?
Santa Clarita.
Well, Santa Clara, but yes.
Yeah, whatever.
Same.
Either one. I don't think the Niners, I mean, obviously that's what they want, everything to line up for them.
If the defense can get Fred Warner back, dude, I'm telling you, this could be
It's one of
the
those
spark
teams
they
that
need.
people overlooked.
It really is.
And with everything going on with Green Bay, I think they've kind of replaced Green Bay in that talk, but there is so many teams in the NFC that I'm like, oh, they could make it, man. They could do it. And who can go into Frisco and beat Frisco if it lined up that way?
I would love to see that, though. Not to be a hater, but like the collective disappointment in San Francisco fans would just be. Sometimes you guys can get on my nerves. I'm sorry.
But Seattle, Chicago, Philadelphia, the Rams, like all these teams could.
All championship caliber. It's just like what we were talking about with the AFC. The AFC has all the young guns with great defenses. The NFC has all the teams that are all just championship caliber. They really are. The Rams are fantastic. And honestly, they probably don't. I mean, if they lost tonight, it wouldn't matter. The worst part about it is that they would essentially lose stock in the Atlanta first round pick. That's all they would pose to lose because they can't win the division anymore. They're out. They probably aren't going to be playing their starters next week. That's a Sean McVay staple. He doesn't play his players in the last week of the season if he doesn't have to. So really, they could take it easy the next 2 weeks if they wanted to, and it really wouldn't change their playoff stock at all. The only team on the NFC side outside of maybe the Carolina Panthers or the Tampa Bay Bucks, which again, I don't think either of these teams deserve a home playoff game at all, let alone to make it. But that's the NFL format right now, so we have to live with it. But the 49ers, again, I said it last week. If they make this run, if they make this Cinderella run, where do we put Brock Purdy? Where do we throw him in the top quarterback conversation? Because it has to be, we have to address it at this point. The kid looks like a top 5 quarterback in a year where Patrick Mahomes continues to be mid. Lamar Jackson is barely making the playoffs. Joe Burrow has been injured half the year. Josh Allen is trying his best, but there's nothing there for him in Buffalo. There's really not. He's going to have to leave to win a Super Bowl. I'll get to that in a second. But he's got to be in the top quarterback conversation. He has to. I'm sorry for people who don't like that or don't want to have that conversation, but this guy is incredible. Who do we have on the phone?
Daily Dave.
Sir, how are you?
Hey guys, hope you had a Merry Christmas.
Hope you did as well.
Yeah, was that Kurt Warner's kid going for Fresno
Yes.
State?
EJ Warner, the senior. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think he'll be making the pros, to be honest with you, unless it's at the practice squad level. But he won the 6th bowl game for the Bulldogs in a last, what was it, 10 yeyears? Something of that nature?
Yeah, and how many hook and ladders did they throw at us this weekend? I saw at least 2.
I mean, they asked him Ben Johnson multiple times after the game on how they were planning to make that work, and I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that he's willing to go to a trick play or two in order to score, but I don't think you could really rely on that in the playoffs. That's what scares me a little bit about the Bears.
Yeah, and then you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Houston Charger game, end of the game, and they call a defensive. We get the sack for the Chargers, and they call it defensive, which actually looked like offensive pass interference.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys say about that?
Again, it's so ticky-tack a lot of the time with the hand fighting between wide receivers and corners, and a lot of the time you can call it either way, especially on a defensive pass interference call. I think there's a lot of those that get called that really shouldn't. So it really just depends at the time. But I can't necessarily deny that watching this weekend, it was reminding me of what Puka Nacua was saying, which a lot of these guys like to make calls just to, throw themselves in at the end of games. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case there as well, but that's just my personal opinion.
And there's no guarantee after the stop that the Chargers are going to come back and win, but at least give them a chance to see if they can do it.
True. But again, they may get a chance here in about 2-3 weeks, Dave. You never know. We could be seeing an AFC championship game of the Chargers in Houston. If it lines up that way, I'd actually have to look at the bracket again. But you get what I mean. It could potentially happen down the road. Both of these teams look fantastic.
But you know who's setting themselves up well? If they win next week and beat Seattle, that could be all home field advantage for San Francisco.
That's what I'm saying.
49ers.
And again, where would you put Brock Purdy if he does make that kind of a run and win a Super Bowl, Dave? Where would we have to put him?
I think with Christian McCaffrey healthy, we get Kittle back and we get Warner back. What do I always say? The team that is the healthiest come the end of the year, they have the best chance at a championship.
No, it's true.
And I put Brock Purdy right up there with him. Man, the way he looked last night, I mean,
last 2 weeks,
5 touchdowns.
Hey, Steve Young has nothing on him.
Well, I won't go that far. Let's not put him against the Hall of Famer yet. But I mean, he's looked fantastic, and I have to argue if he's not top 5, number 5, where else would he be? I mean, a lot of these guys that we call the top quarterbacks can't even win playoff games. So why are we doubting the kid who can? You know what I mean? He may benefit from having a great head coach, but you can't blame him.
I'll leave you with this. Don't doubt Kurt Warner's kids. I'm sure he's going to be stocking groceries at some shelves one day, and we may see him back on the NFL ticket.
Oh, I'm not doubting the kid. He's got talent. I just don't know if the NFL is going to see it themselves since they were in the Mountain West, and he's a senior right now, so it's going to be hard for him to get a job. But you're 100% right. We've heard a Warner story or two, so maybe that will be the next one. Thank you, Dave. We really appreciate it. Let's take a break right now since we're short on time, and then we'll get to our final thoughts on the weekend on the other side. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. This is the early bird special right here on KGEO Sports Talk 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. Sorry, I am reading about this Anthony Joshua car crash in Nigeria. For those of you who are just waking up, the British heavyweight boxer who just took on Logan Paul, Anthony Joshua, sustained minor injuries during a car crash in Nigeria that killed 2 people. I am reading in on this, and I'll hopefully get you guys some more information before the end of the show. Real quick, though, let's wrap up our thoughts on the NFL before we get our guests in here and talk about some other stuff in the world of comedy. Plus, we have some basketball news we'll get to with our guy Snacks. The biggest takeaway for me outside of that fantastic Sunday night football game, though, Sparky, and I'll love to get your thoughts on this, but what in the hell is going on with the Bills and the Eagles? I mean, every playoff team had a pretty impressive win over the weekend. The Patriots beating the Jets at home, or I'm sorry, at the Jets, I should say, 42-10. The Jags beating the Colts 23-11 in Indianapolis. The Seahawks pulling off a win against Carolina. I mean, everybody pulled off wins that should have. Most of them. The Bears and the Niners, I guess you could say, could have gone either way. But the Bills and the Eagles, 13-12 was the final. The Bills were this close to being shut out at home for the first time since 2005, I believe, if they said, or if I'm remembering correctly. And it came down to a 2-point conversion that really didn't need to happen. Kick the dang PAT and go to overtime. 5 seconds on the clock, dude. What are we doing?
We had missed a couple field goals, so I think that's what they were.
I
They
know-
were saying it even before the drive happened. They're like, "We're not going back to the kicker." I watched the last 5-10 minutes of that game, and I was wondering the same thing. I'm like, just kick the field goal. You're playing good football right now.
I realize the last PAT got blocked. I get it. But here's the thing. I don't know about you, Sparky, but analytics be damned. Go to overtime. Why are we even considering this? This should have been an easy choice. Send the kicker out again. But coach, they block. I don't care. Tie the ball game. We'll handle this in overtime. We're at home. It's snowing. We just scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to tie this. We have all the momentum in the world. I'm taking it to overtime. What in the God? And the throw was awful. Josh, what the? But again, that's my major question of the week. What the hell is wrong with the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles? Because let's be honest, the Eagles don't look great either. They've actually gotten worse statistically since the last time I told you guys where they were. And I'll break down the actual rankings for them here in the second half of the show at some point. But we got to get to our first guest of the day. Our guy Trevor is in here with his buddy Eddie. We're going to talk Made You Laugh Mondays at Firehouse, and then Snacks on the other side of that, talk basketball as well. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. And it is a Monday. And 8 o'clocks are reserved for our friends at Made You Laugh Mondays. And that would be our guy Tyson and Trevor.
Hey,
who
guys.
is in here with one of his very, very funny friends. Mr. Eddie Molina is joining him today. Gentlemen, good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
Good to be here.
I wish it was on better circumstances since your Lions took some BTA over the week. But
Yeah, I mean, hey, good football season, right, guys? We're ready for college basketball now and
I mean,
baseball season.
Oh,
That's what's-
100%.
Yeah.
We're talking college basketball with our guys next right after you guys. But
I can't wait till football starts again.
right?
Yeah, same,
Exactly.
same. I can't wait.
I have to get your thoughts on my point from earlier, though. The quote that I heard from Dan Campbell saying that if they weren't going to make the playoffs, or I'm sorry, if they weren't going to make noise, he didn't really want to make the playoffs. How does that make you feel as a fan hearing that from your head coach? Like, be honest about it. Be honest about that.
That hurts a little because I'm like, oh
Thank
no, he's managing expectations. Oh
Thank
no, please don't let this be the beginning of the end. Oh
Bugs
god.
me because it's like, look, dude, when your guys are at your best, it's biting kneecaps off, fourth down football all the time, super
Mhm.
exciting. When you're at your low, it seems like he's licking his wounds and just saying, well, if we're not going to make noise, I don't want to play football.
That's
That
I feel
reminds me
like
of Notre Dame a little bit.
I feel like that was him telling the fans, like, guys, listen, it wasn't going to be good anyway. It wasn't going to be a good time
Yeah,
in
you
the
don't wanna watch
playoffs.
this.
We were
You
going
don't
to
wanna
get
see us in
we
this.
were going to get housed. You didn't want to see that.
Let the Packers be the disappointment this year, not us.
I feel like that's what was going on. Yeah, no, and it's weird because I feel like up until that press conference, every Lions fan was like, "Hey, all we need is an OC and a couple O-line pieces,
Right.
and we're back." And then Campbell was like, if we're not going to make a splash, I don't want to be there. And we're like, wait a minute, what is going on
And
behind
honestly,
the
when I
scenes?
saw
Oh
Penn-
no!
When I saw Sewell went down too, I was like, oh, this season's
I
done.
had a
It's
mini heart
over.
attack.
I'm glad to see that he went back in, but I was like, oh, this season's done.
Oh
not,
yeah.
not even Emon Ra could save you anymore. Like,
Mhm.
this is just done.
I would say watching me watch that game and watching each turnover happen was like me watching me go through like a different stage of grief. Like each turn, oh look, another fumble. Oh, can we not fumble more? Like there's bargaining, and then the acceptance finally came after the fifth turnover. Like, okay, this is happening. We're not making the playoffs.
Now you get the middle of the pack draft pick, and you get to wait till next year and hope and pray that something good happens.
Again, I hope the reports that Dan Campbell is about to raid Ben Johnson's coaching staff are true, and we can rebuild the offensive side of the ball. That's all I'm hoping for, because I feel like the Legion of Whom is a union group, and they need breaks. They need union prescribed breaks. They can't be on the field that long, and that's
Oh,
what killed the
man.
defense.
See, this is the sad part of the Detroit fandom is the hope and pray that they can just steal people back. But
And
You
the creative nicknames.
absolutely,
I think they'll be fine. I think it's just the first year without their big coaches. I think it's not as big of a hole as a lot of other teams that are dealing with.
true.
You
Wow.
know, it could be a worse.
Honestly, 2 more wins, and they would have ended up exactly where I expected them to.
Right.
That's all. It was that close. So I'm again. The Dan Campbell thing is making me panic a little bit because I was all up in arms about every talking head on Fox Sports saying that
Well,
the window was
I
closed.
would much rather have my coach be straight up and realistic with it than giving some crap answers.
There have been
and
moments
yeah.
where
dancing around
McDaniel's
it.
been pretty, realistic with it. I feel.
Did you just say that the Detroit Lions fan base needs reality?
Yes,
That's what that's what you just
that's what a head
that's
coach
what you
is for.
said on live
Yes,
air. You
yes, I
said
did.
that
Yes,
Yeah,
I
with a
did.
straight face.
Yes,
He is a
You said
Dolphins
they need
fan.
a
Yes,
Sparky
he
He is
is.
a Dolphins fan.
I would
There's
much
been a
rather
lot
have a
of
coach
pain.
that's a
That-
little more realistic.
That's what Detroit, Michigan needs: reality. A
Yes.
reality check.
Yes.
They've been in fantasy land a long time.
They've been
Actually-
drinking the water in Flint for
Valid.
too long.
I'll kind of
Exactly.
clear it up for everyone because as a proud son of Detroit, these are the things, Marky. I think it's we're panicking, but at the same time, it's comforting because Detroit's a city where giving someone like really harsh constructive
You guys got the
criticism
Pistons
is thought of
right
as
now,
love.
man.
Like if I make life hard for you, tell you what you're doing wrong in Detroit, that's seen as a loving thing.
See
Yeah.
what it is
Yeah.
they
Exactly.
each sports franchise in Detroit just sacrifices each other so one of them could be good each year. This year it's the Pistons' turn. They just sacrificed you guys. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, maybe there'll be a twofer and we can get like the Pistons and the Tigers, or the Pistons and the Red
see,
Wings.
because the
That'd
Red
be
Wings for some reason come in and say that we have to have a whole decade instead of 1 year, and that's what ruins it for everybody else. But you did bring in a guest with you today,
Yes,
Mr. Eddie. Sir, how are you?
Good. I'm good.
Fantastic. First, you are one of the fantastic comedians that we could hear every single Monday at Made You Laugh Mondays.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes,
I see
sir.
you have a Welsh shirt on, which we are a big fan of. How did you get started in comedy?
I started about 10 years ago now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got added to a theater group on Facebook, out of all things. Weirdest thing. And in that theater group, somebody posted about the Timber open mic.
And you just took it on.
And then from there, I haven't left.
Were you a theater kid? Just
No.
No,
that's the thing. This guy, I don't even know this guy on Facebook. He just added me to a theater group.
And you just happened to find a open mic promo in there?
I didn't even know Bakersfield had a scene. Well, they didn't really have a scene then, but we do now.
Yeah, it's grown tremendously thanks to guys like you. But I mean,
thank you.
That's a pretty interesting story. I mean, is it just one of those spam bot like Facebook groups that just said, "Hey, add this guy"?
Not that random. No, a guy I knew from high school. He became like a director, writer, and he had members of his troupe that then added me on Facebook.
Gotcha.
So it wasn't super random, but I didn't know the guy that added me. So I was like, oh.
That's it. Okay. So it's more of just like an outside source just saying, maybe he'll actually catch on.
Sure. And I actually messaged them a couple years ago on like the anniversary. I'm like, hey, thank you for adding me. Like, you don't even know.
By the way,
you don't even, I don't know you. I know you don't know me, but out of nowhere, you kind of gave me a path here.
Right.
Thanks.
So first, obviously seeing the Temblor open mic, were you like adamant to get into it, or were you one of those guys that were just like, maybe I'll go just check it out? And
no,
see what
I wanted to be a stand-up at the time.
Really?
I just didn't know if Bakersfield had a scene. I was gearing myself up to go to LA or something. But like you don't want to go up there, no joke. What do I do? And I go on stage like, boo, get them out.
Right.
I want to be ready, guns blazing.
So is this something you've always wanted to do since you were a kid then?
No, but I've always loved comedy.
Okay.
I've always loved comedy. And then in high school and in college, I got the bug. Like I want to try this.
Right.
I want to do this.
So when you went to Temblor, was it a first time botch, or was it like it just hit the ground running? And
no, it did well.
Okay,
did
fantastic.
Well.
That's awesome.
I already had bits. I already had a whole cavalcade of whatever.
Did
nonsense.
You really?
Yes.
Okay. What did it like pertain around? Like, what's your comedy based on?
A lot of personal stuff, personal stories, also observations I make in.
If you've ever seen Eddie live, it's really just whatever's agitating him that day. That's really
and a lot of sprinkling a heaping helping of
from Disney adults to God, I'm trying to remember what you were. What about Christmas? Were you going off on this last week? I can't even remember.
No, my latest bit is on Jardians, the diabetes medication.
I know you're gonna have to explain.
The tagline is the little pill with a big story to tell. I'm like, listen, don't anthropomorphize the thing for me already. Let me do that on a Tuesday morning, like ooh, choo 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 choo. Like let me play with it, make it a thing that's alive. Don't do that for me in the ad. Don't do that.
That's funny.
So
it's all like grind my gears kind of comedy, which is
that mixed in with personal stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I love it. That's one of my favorite forms of comedy is when you can just take a story and you can find the funny parts in it. And that's awesome. So this is a 10-year run for you. Have you like hit anywhere big yet in your own way? Like, I'm sorry. Have you done any sets anywhere big in your own right? I should say.
I performed at the San Jose Improv.
Did you really?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Yes. That's cool.
That was awesome.
How was that experience?
It was trippy because you I don't know if you've ever been to the San Jose Improv.
No, I have not.
It's kind of set up like a theater. So you walk in, it's the like rising seating, the rising seating. But when you're out on stage, it feels like a wall. It feels like it's like I think it's the angling of the seating. As it goes up, but when you're on stage, it feels like everyone's right there. Like
that's gotta be
the wall.
I'm like just a whole eye or wall full of eyes just staring down at you.
You know what? If I hadn't been prepared, yeah, but at this point, it's automatic. I get on stage. The nerve is there. The nerve's always there. If the nerve's not there, don't do it.
When did you kind of find that level? Like when did you find that switch where you could just walk on stage now and just whatever, I can do this?
It was definitely after the pandemic when we came back. It was like let's just let it rip. Like you've been doing this long enough where it's like you not playing it safe.
So it was a year 5 for you.
Year 5, year 6, I came back. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, just be. I feel like I don't know if Trevor can attest to this. I'm way more comfortable on stage.
See, I was going to say, I can't really, because now that you've said that it was post-pandemic that you let it rip. I've never seen I've never seen pre-pandemic kind of like withdrawn or tame Eddie. I've only seen let it fly.
Wait. I didn't mean my attitude was withdrawn. In fact, it was wilder. I was wilder because I was tossed every time I was on stage. So it was a lot more.
Okay.
I mean, like in terms of vulnerability.
Okay.
Like the material you touch, the stuff you address.
Letting people in and pulling the curtain back.
You do.
How far do I go with this?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like before I was like, all right, let's just stick into the playground.
Right.
Let's have fun.
Yeah, I notice you do that. There will be times where you're like, you know,
I'm
what? I'm gonna roll the dice on this. Let's see.
Why did you say that? I don't know.
I wanted to see if it would work. Why did you do a song or a bit about an English Premier League fan chant, a drinking song in front of a bunch of NFL fans? I don't know. I wanted to see if it would work.
Exactly.
And honestly, sometimes it does, because there's a lot of sports fans that just have a innate just respect for a lot of that kind of stuff. So
right.
You could totally make it work. So that's awesome, dude. That's fantastic. And you're already moving towards stuff, obviously, that think.
I would say the big, actually the probably the bigger measuring stick for Eddie is the fact that like any big name that's come through this town, I feel like Eddie has opened for.
Really? Okay,
yeah.
So who are some of the biggest names that you've opened for?
I mean, my biggest, I'm like, yo, I still to this day I can't. Greg Fitzsimmons.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually Dan, the owner of the well, he has a picture of Greg Fitzsimmons watching me on stage.
Really?
And he sent it to me. I'm like, dude, you didn't. That's why I rock with. That's why it's the World Comedy Club, baby. January 23rd, baby. We're back, baby. We're back. You know why?
That's why he's like a Spanish soccer player kissing the badge.
Where else is the owner of the club gonna take a picture of the headliner watching the opener perform?
No, that's really cool,
Sick.
dude. That's fantastic. Is there anybody that you're like that you idolize that you wish or hope one day that you can open for?
I mean the name. I mean, if we're throwing out Christmas, it's the Christmas season.
Out there,
Bill Burr,
dude.
Bill
you know
Burr.
what? He was fantastic when he was in town too.
I know I missed him. I had to watch my kid. Yeah, my wife was out with her friends. So I'm like, okay.
Bill Burr is one of the biggest comedians right now too, and that would be awesome if you get that opportunity. Is there anybody else on that list too?
Man, it's kind of my short list right now. Ralph Barboza.
Really?
Yeah, like of the newer school cats, he seems cool. He's in like a cool hang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I mean, where do you kind of fit your comedy in with both of theirs? Like, because I mean, Bill Burr, although very kind of family oriented in some ways, super raunchy in others. So like, where do you kind of fit in that area?
If you watch me, I think you might be able to see the Burr influence for sure.
Yeah. Really. Now that you mentioned it, I'm 100% seeing it.
Angry family. Yeah. Angry
family man. Yeah. 100%.
Angry, like angry at other thing in life. Back to family and anger. Like so I guess that's why I love him so much. Right. Because I'm like, you're me. You're me.
Fantastic. Okay. So before we get to the sports side of everything, how often are you at the Made You Laugh Mondays? Where can people find you?
You can find me at Made You Laugh Mondays. You can find me at the Templar Open Mic on Thursdays. And you'll find me every time the well's open, pretty much when it opens back up.
He'll be the mainstay.
That's my home. I work there.
If he's not on stage, he's working the door. If he's not working the door, he's at the bar.
That's mi casa. That's my dojo. That's my sanctuary.
We had Betts on last week, and he was promoting the upcoming shows. That's why I had my
my
Will shirt on as well. But I ask all the comedians, you said you're a big into comedy. You know what? Growing up, what was the comedians that you always went back to?
Chappelle, obviously. Before the whole Mencia thing, that was big. George Lopez, obviously, like, and just in general, like, if you had a comedy on, I would watch it. That was kind of my thing as a kid. Like, I didn't know many names, but I'm like, that's funny. I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up a bit younger or a bit older, so I go always back to the old Rodney Dangerfield specials, and it was kind of that open mic scene on VHS. So we got to watch, that's where I got to see Andrew Dice Clay and a lot of these comedians in the 80s. But going back to sports, we did hear you're Eagles fan.
Yeah, I didn't. I felt very weird with a Falcons fan, Dolphins fan, and Detroit Lions fan sitting here when my QB was chomping on a cigar in February. I'm like, oh, this is uncomfortable. These fan bases, oh my god.
Here's the thing, though, you guys definitely have a Super Bowl slump going on right now, or Super Bowl hangover at least. Because
the Eagles are in the playoffs. What are you talking about?
That's all that matters.
What are you talking about?
You guys haven't looked good all year. Are you kidding?
And
good enough to make the playoffs.
This is true.
If they win ugly neck in January, cool.
Win's a win.
This is the Philly mindset, though.
Yeah.
Every fan base they
Yeah.
have. It don't matter.
Winning is the ultimate deodorant.
You know what? That's absolutely true. This is the fan bases that threw batteries at Santa Claus, though.
Exactly.
So.
You'll never live that down. Hey,
No.
you know what?
No.
You know what?
I'm a Phillies fan, so
don't-
I trust me. I hear during baseball season.
Don't field a suck team for a decade and then trot out Santa Claus. Think he's gonna fix something. He's not.
Now you got Nick Sirianni fixing it.
Yay! Oh, Saint Nick,
Dude. Okay, so
new Saint Nick.
I feel like you are on the side of you like Nick Sirianni, but
Yeah.
you're not like the other half of the fan base that wishes he was, drawn out on a stick.
What's not to like?
I mean, I think
All winning seasons. What are you doing?
I think that he fits your guys' just team chemistry and just team ability perfectly. You know
He's
what
covered
I mean?
in duck feathers. He just lets the water just
Exactly.
Let's just
Like,
win. Let's
the
go out
fact
there
that
and
he's
do
no
what we do.
nonsense will look up at the fan base and say, "Oh yeah, we'll watch this." Like that's my favorite part about this.
And the fact that he looks like everyone's cousin.
Yeah, that's fair. The one that you just don't mess
Like,
with because he's
all
gonna.
right, well,
The one you call when there's trouble.
He'll key your car, but at the same time, if he
Hey,
needs to, he'll
if you-
slash someone else's tires for you.
Exactly.
Where do you think this whole thing is going to end for you guys this year? Do you see another Super Bowl in your future?
you know,
I mean, out the game, but put the Philly fan hat to the
Don't do
side
that.
for a second.
they're in the playoffs, baby.
Okay.
They're in the playoffs.
there's
That's all
the
I'm gonna
answer.
say.
One win at a
That's
time.
my
There's
one-liner
the
answer. That's my one-liner answer. They're in the playoffs. After that, look, I'm gonna tell you the truth. The reason why initially I became a Eagles fan,
Mhm.
I grew up a soccer kid. I'm Guatemalan. I don't know.
That's fair.
I don't know anything about football, right? And at
You have
14
your own version of football.
exact football.
Yeah.
No, so I'm flipping through the channels in February of 2005, and I happened upon a little game that you folks like to call a Super Bowl. I was flipping through the channels. I wasn't looking. There was no
found
Super
the
Bowl.
game.
There was no Super Bowl party. I'm at my house in my skivvies, channel surfing, and I find the Super Bowl, and the Eagles are losing, and I'm like, you know what, underdog, let's go. They lost that one. Eagles fan since, and then I'm like, look,
So what year was this? This was
that was 2005.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I'm just sitting there. I'm like, look, I start looking.
no,
I'm
you're
a
2
nerd.
decades in. That's fair.
I'm a nerd. I'm looking up stuff about the Eagles. I'm like, oh, they've never won a Super Bowl. That's perfect. Because who wants to be a fan of a team that's already won stuff? I want to see them win the first one. Let's do it. So 2017, that happens. I was like, look, as an Eagles fan, job done. My job is officially over. I stopped watching football for a while.
Did you really?
Yeah, until like the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni
It's like,
era.
oh, you guys won one with me.
I'm
already
like,
out
I'm good.
now.
No, 'cause
I've retired myself.
Because I started hearing like, oh, they just won the one. Oh, where's the other way? Oh, well, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start
Oh, yeah, of
watching.
course.
Let's win another one. They won one this. I'm like, okay, this year is cherries on top. They're in the playoffs. Cool.
And he's like, I don't want to be greedy. There are other fan bases that need
Dude,
championships. I'm going to
week
share.
3, I heard Eagles fans complaining. I'm like, we just won the Super Bowl. What are you talking about? Why are you upset? Why are you upset?
There are fan bases that are just no. I need it every single year,
no,
and Philly's one of them, dude. Pittsburgh's one of them.
Why
Pittsburgh fans?
My
do not
question
care.
is, why is Philly one of them? They haven't won a lot.
This is true.
So
When you get that taste,
I
of it,
love it.
though,
I'm
it's
like,
the
I'm
gold.
good. I'm good. As a Philly fan, I'm like, I'm good.
Like I'm a Falcons fan. We had a little taste of it, and then Tom Brady snuck
then
that
March
just
28th
ripped it
happened,
right
huh?
out of our hands.
Then March 28th happened.
Again, 28-3. I
I
get
wouldn't
it.
know. So
Don't get
Hey,
me wrong.
Kyle Shanahan, knows how to lose a
Speaking
Super
of which,
Bowl.
don't get me wrong,
Kyle Shanahan knows how to lose a Super Bowl.
he does. He absolutely does.
That's all for
And
3, baby.
to be honest, I don't know if I should blame him or Dan Quinn for losing it for us, because I don't know who had final say on those final plays, but it really doesn't matter. If the Panthers make it to the Super Bowl, I have to send all $28.03 that I own right now to my friend Sparky anyway. So at this point, it is what it is, and the curse is never going to go away. It just never will. Real quick with the final minutes that we have, though, since I have both of you in here and you're both football fans to a point, I suppose. One, how do you see the Super Bowl shaking up this year? Do you see, obviously, your team, Philadelphia, in there on the NFC side, but which team do you think is going to be out on top this season?
Man, I did not see the Broncos. I did not see the Broncos at the beginning. I don't think anybody did.
No.
Right?
I thought they were going to be good. I didn't think they were going to be this good. I thought the Chargers were going to be the team that was going to win the division this year.
There's this fantastic video about the 2010 San Diego Chargers. That will just tell you everything you need to know about Chargers forever. It's like, oh, okay, they're never gonna get it together. So Super Bowl, how I see it shaking out, like what teams are gonna be in it?
Yes,
Eagles, Broncos.
Eagles,
Let's
Broncos
go.
in the
Let's go.
final.
Let's call it.
And obviously Eagles winning. I'm taking
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, number 3. Yeah.
Trevor.
I can probably agree with that. I just hope it's anyone but the Bears, because if the Bears win, we're never going to hear the end of it.
Oh, never.
It's going to be
never.
It's
never.
There's going to be Bears
panel
themed
is just
everything
writing
at the well.
itself.
Okay, I know it's football talk, but can we pivot? Like,
Of course.
All right. Sports nicknames. Why is there an 8-foot tall French guy that shoots threes that's not nicknamed Le Trebuchet? Why?
I love that. I think that might be too smart a joke.
That might be too smart a joke. And NBA fans need to be the first one to catch on to it.
Wembouche.
Wembouche.
Wembouche. Hashtag
Nice.
Wembouche. All right, no, that's it.
That is fantastic.
Wembouche.
And this is coming from a guy who we developed his nickname Guadi Too Hottie. So if you guys want to follow him on Instagram, Guadi Too Hottie.
That is his Instagram
Shout
handle?
out, shout out Scottie Too Hottie.
Oh, that is awesome. What is your favorite nickname of a sports athlete or a team?
I'm gonna be a homer. I'm gonna be a real homer. Reggie White, Minister of Defense.
Oh yeah,
Minister.
that's
of
one of the
Defense.
best ones.
Let's talk about. Let's take a moment for the fridge, and how it's.
They just were referencing him the other day.
And
I can't remember what
and
the
how it's
context
F
was.
Mike Ditka every day.
Yeah.
How do you let the fridge score before Walter Payton? That will never be. He will never live that down.
Okay,
ever.
True.
Even in the afterlife.
It's kind of like having Derrick Henry in the backfield, and I don't know who would be a good comparison for Walter at this point.
But his sweetness needed to be poured on the Super Bowl.
I understand, but when it's 1st and goal, you're 2 yards away.
They won 55-10.
I know, but you give it to the big guy you don't care if he's going to get hit instead of your star player, and you keep his legs healthy. You see?
I guess.
It makes more sense.
But at 48-10, you couldn't go, hey, here, got one in.
Nope, not at all. No,
okay.
no, you're absolutely right, though. If he would have handed it to him more, his numbers would have been so much better. But
anyway,
I kind of see at least the strategic part of it.
Sure.
But you're a football fan, I take it. So I'm going to name off some players. I want you to give me a top 5.
Oh, no. Since 2005, I've been an NFL fan.
Oh, trust me.
I don't know anything about soccer anymore.
Don't get me wrong. These aren't going to be names that you don't know. I promise you. These are all. I barely even know that much soccer in my own head, but I'm just going to see what we got.
You've seen the World Cup, Eddie. You'll be able to.
Yes,
name this.
you're going to be able to name them. I'm saying like Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
So the 2 names I just mentioned, Ronaldo, Messi. Where do you put Mbappe? My favorite, Freddie Adu, but that's just because I'm an American. And let's say, what's a good 5th one? I can't even think of a name right now.
Oh man, who would we put in?
Oh, what's the Russian guy everybody loves that was in Ted Lasso? I can't remember his name right now, but I don't even know if he's Russian. He's probably not even Russian. But stick with those 4. Let's just go with those 4 since we can't think of anybody.
Yeah, anyone I would name would be too recent, and Eddie would just glaze over.
How would rank them or what?
Yeah, top 4.
Top 4, Messi.
Messi 1.
Yeah, short gang.
Okay. 2.
2. Cristiano. Nah. Yeah, Cristiano, Mbappe, and then Adu. Because I'm like, what did Adu do?
Nah, dude didn't really do
Much
anything.
ado
Again,
about,
that was more
much
of
ado
a,
about nothing.
no, exactly. Again, it's just more of as an American growing up as a millennial, all you heard was Freddie Adu, and it's
he's 14. The dude was 21.
Yeah,
He was a Nigerian 14. Let's be real, he was. It was like, dude, you look like someone's older cousin.
you really do. But hey, he made it at some point, and America was, at least. I should have said David Beckham. I just thought it was
David Beckham.
I can't believe I forgot about Beckham, but it is what it is.
I would put him over Adu.
Yeah,
let's go there.
Okay,
Yeah.
Why would you put him over Freddie? Well, obviously, besides the generic answer,
you know what?
He's just David Beckham.
They were close until that one scene from the one documentary.
Oh, where he pops
like, tell the truth.
Tell the truth. What did your dad drive?
Tell the truth. I'm like, okay.
And then you start seeing
goated.
Oh my God, gentlemen, we are running out of time here. Real quick though, Trevor, where can everybody go see the two of you?
You can see us tonight at Made You Laugh Mondays at the Firehouse Rosedale. If you guys want to sign up for the mic, show up at 6:30, but otherwise show starts at 7. We're also at no Tembler this Thursday because it's New Year's Day. But right. Tembler open mic will be back next week, and then the 23rd, the Well is returning.
Yes,
January 23rd, the glorious return of the Well Comedy Club.
Get your tickets now at thewellcomedyclub.com.
Will we be seeing you open for Mr. Hans Kim?
That I don't know. Dan's been pretty tight-lipped about what that opening weekend is, so stay tuned. I'm sure
it's probably to keep us off them.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, I don't want to hear from any of you. Please quit blowing up my phone. I'll tell you when I tell you.
That's pretty much what he told us last week too, is to tell you guys to stop texting him.
Yeah, no, that's why I haven't even. That's why I just text him about football. I don't text him about comedy and then maybe if he deigns to tell me what's going on, I'll.
Tiny
be
plug,
happy.
guys. Tiny
I
plug,
was
guys.
just about to ask you where they can find you.
Auto detail supplies of Kern County. I am the weekend associate there.
Nice,
fantastic.
Get all your detail supply needs.
Okay, and where are you guys located at?
3528 Stein Road.
Okay, and then do you have any comedy shows coming up that you want to shout out real quick too?
No, just excited for the Well.
Okay,
just ready for the Well to open.
Can't wait for it.
Let's go.
Fantastic. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. We
appreciate
you.
Yes,
and we will see you in 2 weeks, correct?
In 2 weeks.
Fantastic. Hopefully see you opening up for another fantastic comedian at the Well here very, very soon. Let's take a break real quick. This is the Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk. back. Early Bird Special right here on KGEO Sports Talk, 101.1 FM, 1230 AM. We are also streaming video live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can go back, watch all of our old episodes on our YouTube channel at the Early Bird Special. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We actually just reached over 100 subscribers. Thank you. We appreciate that.
That's all snacks, baby.
I know. Yeah. And you know what? And I got plenty to talk about with our guy Snacks too. So we got to get moving. Sir, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm awake. I'm
You're awake. You're falling
That's the
asleep
first
on us.
step.
Real quick, I wanted to get into some news out of the world of college basketball before we hit NBA, because I know you were a college fan. And I was curious just about this first one, but Georgetown suspending their head coach, Ed Cooley, in frustration, throwing a water bottle into the stands after a loss against, I believe it was Xavier, hitting a child, and now the team has come out and suspended him for a game. The game is against Copen State, so obviously it's not that big of a game, but what are your thoughts on this? And overall, just, is Georgetown in trouble? Is it just me, or does it seem like the last 5 years we haven't seen good Georgetown basketball?
Both. Just haven't seen good Georgetown basketball, and I think by rule you automatically suspended.
Right.
When you throw any player or coach, anybody on the court throws anything to the stand. So I think that's just by rule, anyways. And out of frustration, but you shouldn't be throwing anything in the stands. I mean, no matter how mad you get. Because I mean, yes, this is your livelihood, but it's not that serious. Put somebody else's eyes or head or something in danger. But yeah, Georgetown just always had that's a tough conference though. What is it, the Big East? It's a tough conference to win in, because that's another conference that actually plays basketball. It's defensive minded. And so if you don't come in with a defensive mind of type of style, it's going to be very, very hard to win in that conference. And I don't know why, because Georgetown was one of those schools where college basketball is a little bit better when you got Georgetown winning.
Right.
And so I don't know why it's so hard to, bring that program out of the mud. But we are in a different era now. So
100%.
You're right. We haven't heard about Georgetown in years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They haven't won the tournament in 5 years. I think they said they won 18 games last season, 9 the year before that. I mean, this head coach isn't exactly successful either, but I'm not blaming it on him. But I keep thinking, God, it's been so long since we've seen a good Georgetown team. And it seems like when I was growing up, that's all we saw was them at least contending for an NCAA championship in the tournament. And it seems weird that we haven't seen them kind of grow back to that level. Do you think NIL has anything to do with it?
No, because there's some good teams in that conference. I think a lot of it has to do around media base. So when you think about like college basketball and like college football, you only think of 3 different conferences: the SEC, the ACC, and the Big 10, the Big 12. So 4 different conferences. Nobody else talks about the Big East. Nobody talks about the WAC. And so that's why when we get to the tournament and some of these teams start beating up on a lot of teams that we see all year, because we haven't seen them. So I just don't think the Big East is highlighted like the rest of the other conferences are, because the Creighton's of the world, the Seton Halls, the Providence, they actually are good all year long. We just don't hear about them. So I guess if they can somehow, now growing up, we always heard about the Big East or Georgetown and the Providence and the St. John's and all those schools. I mean, but those also, as you were saying, teams that constantly made it to the tournament. But I think if they get highlighted a little bit more, we would have a little bit more respect or start to hear about them or talk about them a little bit more. So I don't think it's an NIL thing. I think it's more just being highlighted and people just forget, like, oh yeah, Georgetown. Then we talk about them again, like the Allen Iversons, the Patrick Ewings of the world.
Because I mean, there's just a long list of NBA just historical faces that have come out of that school, and it shocks me that we haven't seen much from them in the last decade. But the other story that out of the NCAA that I wanted to get to was the return of Elijah Arenas to the USC Trojans, his first practice since injuring his knee last summer, and obviously the tragic car accident that happened before that. The freshman guard apparently has been meeting with the staff daily to learn plays, go over strategies, and begin his rehab. But do you think there's ever going to be a time that he kind of reaches the level of, or at least the level we thought he would be at? Or do you think that the injury on top of the car accident and all that would be a little bit too much for anybody to bounce back from?
Me personally, as a father of his, which I am not, but if I was, I would tell him, take it day by day, man. And if you can't do it, don't force yourself. I mean, you're good. Don't run after something like that. You don't rush back inside. I know that's your passion. I know you got a heart for it, but don't rush back into it. But it's hard to tell kids that these days, especially when they're making the money that they do. And you really can't put on a lot of the kids. A lot of folks don't know how much pressure that goes into being recruited and how much pressure college coaches put on you. I know when I was getting recruited way back when, and I only played Division II basketball at Missouri Southern State University, and the coach would tell you, well, we only give you 3 days to decide. That's a lot of pressure for an 18-year-old. And then you'll sit, now that you're on the team and now that you're hurt, and they really want to go out and get somebody out of the portal, they'll tell you, well, what you going to do? We understand that you're hurt. We understand. We would love to keep you, but we got to, and these are coach being just bluntly out, we got to move on. And I just been in a car accident. I just broke my leg. Like, what y'all want me to do? So it's a lot of pressure behind the scenes that people don't talk about. So I would just tell the kid, man, come back at your own risk. Come back at your own time. And you're good enough. Somebody will pick you up. It may not be at USC, but take your time. Come back when you're ready.
And you know what's weird is USC has had this long list of athletes come into their basketball program that are all big names because they're connected to other big names. And there's been some tragedy in some of them, and some of them just haven't panned out as much as others believe they could be. I think Elijah could be a really cool story if he bounces back and it becomes an X factor for the team, especially if they can make some sort of run towards the tournament. And honestly, I think if there's anybody that's probably got the mental fortitude to really pull this off, it's the son of Gilbert Arenas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
and Gilbert was injury prone towards the end of his season, so I'm sure he'll have a lot of advice. Like, again, take your time. You're still young. You still got time. In a way that the college basketball is working these days, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the ex NBA player coming back to be able to play in college. So yeah, maybe take 3 years off and come back and play. I don't know. We can't keep up with college basketball at this point.
Right. No, and again, we'll rant more.
Sports, rather.
Yeah, we'll lean more into those stories as the tournament gets closer and closer, obviously. But shifting over real quick to the NBA, did you get to see Scottie Barnes' incredible 20, 20, and 10 triple-double yesterday against the Warriors? And so, if you did, what were your thoughts on that?
Scottie Barnes is one of those people kind of like Georgetown. He's a phenomenal player. We just never hear about him. Like, I think this is a normal night for him, but sometimes he has to go above and beyond. I did not see it last night, but I have seen him play, and I've been watching his career since he, come out of high school. He's always been an NBA player. He's always had the physique for it. He's always had the dog in him. So a night like that really doesn't surprise me. He's at the Toronto Raptors, so we don't talk about them often. So, but this is something that he does.
I'm glad you brought that up. Sorry to cut you off, because I mean, he had 23 points, 25 rebounds, which ties the franchise record in rebounds per game, 10 assists and 3 steals. And the Raptors currently are sitting at 19-14, fourth in the East, right there, dead center with the Celtics and the Magic. Do you think this is a team that no one is really considering having a run? But I mean, I was thinking about it last night. I don't know why we're doubting that this Raptors team could make something happen here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you again, because they don't have quote unquote superstars. It's crazy how media really plays into sports. Well, anything, but particularly when it comes to sports and who we really pay attention to. I mean, just here on the West Coast, you get the Clippers, you got the Lakers, you got Sacramento. So those take up 3 of your channels already. So you're not really focused on any other team outside of the West Coast or your team that you're really following. And it's these type of teams that sneak up on you in the Eastern Conference Final, the Western Conference Finals. They be like, oh, they were good this year? Yeah. Nobody has ever talked about them. So, and I love those type of teams because they just They take what you give them.
Mhm.
And they just come to the floor and they play. They just hungry dogs, and they win, and here they come. And so we get to learn about them in the playoffs.
And they have a pretty stud starting five. I mean, RJ Barrett at the 3, obviously Scottie Barnes at the 4. We were just talking about him. I believe Isaiah Likely is the point guard, and I can't remember who's the shooting guard right now, but he's also very good. That's why I'm looking at him, and it's like, if we're not going to be getting the best of the Celtics or maybe the best of the Cavaliers, and we're seeing a Pistons team that, at least for now, is at the top of the rankings, but God only knows what we're going to see later on in the season. I could see the Raptors making one of those sneaky runs as the playoffs continue to come closer, obviously.
And the best part is they're young.
Yes.
They're really young.
100%. And then,
they're young. And that's right. I've seen a couple of the games, and I think that's how they win down the end, that they just have a little more energy than some of the teams they playing, because they're young and their chemistry, and the chemistry can only get better as long as they stay healthy. So,
And then last point for me, and I don't know if Sparky's got any text messages for you or has any questions himself, but the Lakers were holding a team-only meeting over the weekend, said some recalibration needed to happen. They ended up destroying the Kings last night, bringing them to 20-10 on the season, 9-5 since LeBron's returned, 4th in the West. Do you think that what recalibrating do you think this team needed to do?
accountability.
Just accountability across the board?
Yeah, just accountability. You can get too comfortable with winning, and then the all-stars or the superstars just start doing their own thing. And I like JJ. I don't care what nobody say. He speaks his mind. He holds everybody accountable. He really can't hide anything on his face on the sidelines. You can know when he's mad at LeBron. You know when he's mad at Luka. You just know Luka's not going to give you any type of defense. So if they could figure out how to get in the lead in the playoffs, where we can get somebody else on the floor sometime for Luka to play a little bit of defense, I think that would be all right. But yeah, I think it all just comes down to accountability, and I think JJ is doing a good job, whether people like it or not. And I wish we had more coaches in the NBA would speak up and talk to players like he does.
Exactly. I love JJ, and it's for that same reason. My only thing was, besides the Christmas Day games, which were entertaining, but the Bulls Bucks game on Saturday, where it got a little heated after the game, which I wasn't really upset with it, but I know Bulls fans that probably bought tickets, and as the game was already over, Giannis had to sprinkle in a tomahawk before the game was over, which heated up a little conversation and a confrontation with the Bulls and everybody running out on court. I don't know if you saw that, but is that really? Are the Bulls just being petty?
Yeah, I saw it, and didn't that happen with Luka? Not Luka. Giannis last year with a different team, where he got mad.
I think so.
Yes. No, it was the Pacers, because it was the altercation between him and Tyrese's dad.
That's right. That is right.
Okay, yeah, but it was some because somebody did the exact same thing, scored when the game was over, and he got mad. And it's like, so okay, why are you doing this?
I think that's a different one.
Yeah, why are you doing this to the we all know if you play sports at some point, like, we blown out, bro. Don't try and go score more, or don't start doing stupid stuff, because now it's disrespectful. And so, no matter if you're playing around or not, or whatever your cause is, like, that's mad disrespectful. Just let the game be what it's going to be. We'll see y'all next time. So I've always, as an athlete, don't, like, you got us already. Don't beat us while we're already down. So for me, I find it a little bit disrespectful. Does it cause an altercation? No, but I am going to say something to you after the game. Hey, bro, don't do that no more. All right, just chill out.
And my last thing is, which was one of the big headlines this going into this morning, is the Hawks and Trae Young. Do you think a trade is going to happen here shortly, or are they going to end up trying to hold off until the deadline?
I think it's time to move on from Trae Young. He did his course. Nothing has really come successful from that relationship. Nothing really bad has happened, but what has he done since he's been there? Like, outside his first 4 years in Atlanta, So I wouldn't be surprised or wouldn't be mad if they move on from Trae Young. Now, where does he go? I don't know. What type of pieces do they need? That part I don't know. But if a trade happens, I wouldn't. For fans, I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be like, "Oh, why did that happen?" I think it's one of those things. It's time to move on from that relationship.
Mm. Well, I mean, it's like you said, it's not like they haven't tried to put players around him to make this work, and it just hasn't, it hasn't bared any fruit for this team at all. So I kind of agree with you. Maybe it's just time to make a move and move on from Trae Young. And who knows? Maybe we'll see a Trae Young for Giannis trade, just straight up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. But also, Trae Young has to be one of those point guards that learn how to play with people, with other people.
Right.
And that's it's always been the Trae Young show. I've never seen him. It's like every 3 possessions he finally passes to his teammate.
Right. And he's not good enough to be that guy either, in my opinion. Like, he's great. He's a great point guard and a great shooter, but I've never really seen him as that guy. So I wouldn't be surprised either if they moved on. But sir, we have run out of time. We appreciate yours, and we will talk to you next week.
Yes, sir, man.
All right, have a good holiday. Let's take a break real quick. On the other side, we will get Sparky's thoughts on the latest Avatar movie, because I'm very, very curious on how good this is. This is the Early Bird Special on KGEO Sports Talk. Welcome back. Final segment of the Early Bird Special here on this Monday. Hope you all enjoyed your Christmas vacation. I know Sparky got to see plenty of different movies over the break. We'll get to talk about most of them tomorrow with our guy Rick Bentley from KGET. What were your thoughts on Avatar, my friend?
I personally thought it was one of the best ones.
Really?
And I watched it in 3D. We won't have time to get much into it, but I personally thought if you're going to see a movie in 3D, that's the one.
Avatar has always hit it out of the park with 3D.
And I know it's a long wait for the second one, so a lot of people kind of were just over it. But if you're big into the Avatar movies, I think this one blew out the last one.
Really?
And I thought, I mean, not only the graphics, but the story was much better.
I trust your opinion, so I will give it a shot myself. I was one of those people that found it a little too late for this sequel, to be completely honest with you, and for the last one. But I get it. You want the best quality, and it probably wouldn't have been this good without that type of quality. So I'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. We got Stranger Things this week, though, in theaters, and that's going to be so much fun. We're getting out of here for the day. Enjoy the great Rich Eisen. Join us back here tomorrow, 7 to 9 as always. Sparky, let's get out of here.